BlackRock, a name you've heard, but probably don't fully understand. Right now, this single company manages around $10 trillion in assets. To put that into perspective, that is more than the GDP of most countries on Earth, more than the economies of nations with tens of millions of people, vast natural resources, and global influence. So the question is simple: who are they? And how did one company come to hold so much quiet control over the modern world? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear may change the way you understand power forever. Chapter 1. The Shadow Bank. What is BlackRock? BlackRock began in 1988 as a small risk management and fixed income investment firm. But over the next 3 decades, it grew into something far larger, the largest asset manager on Earth. Unlike a traditional bank, BlackRock doesn't take deposits or issue credit cards. Instead, it manages money for governments, pension funds, corporations, insurance companies, universities, and millions of individual investors. This gives BlackRock enormous ownership stakes, sometimes small, sometimes significant, in thousands of companies worldwide: technology giants, energy companies, pharmaceutical firms, transportation, food, consumer goods, infrastructure. If it exists in the market, BlackRock likely owns a piece of it. And because it holds shares on behalf of its clients, BlackRock has voting power in countless corporations, meaning it votes on board members, it influences company policies, it shapes corporate governance worldwide. This is why many economists describe BlackRock as part of a rising group of shadow banks. Not banks in the traditional sense, but institutions that operate on a scale so enormous that they quietly influence the global economy from behind the scenes. BlackRock's ownership structure is also unique. It doesn't have a single dominant founder controlling the company. Instead, it is owned by a mix of institutional shareholders. That means its power isn't centered in one individual. It's structural, systemic, and distributed across global finance. But sheer size isn't what makes BlackRock unlike anything before it. The real secret weapon, the real source of influence, is its technology. Chapter 2. Aladdin, the AI supercomputer. Behind global markets, BlackRock's power doesn't just come from money, it comes from information, from risk models, from predictive analytics that can see vulnerabilities in markets before almost anyone else can. This system is called Aladdin, short for Asset, Liability, and Debt and Derivative Investment Network. What began as an internal risk analysis tool has evolved into one of the most powerful financial technologies ever created. Aladdin does 3 things that make it so influential. 1. Aladdin runs global risk simulations. It stress tests portfolios against thousands of scenarios: interest rate spikes, currency fluctuations, market crashes, geopolitical events, credit defaults. It can analyze the impact of a shock across entire economies in seconds. 2. Aladdin guides investment decisions. When trillions of dollars are being allocated, every move matters. Aladdin's models help decide where that money goes, which stocks get bought, which bonds get sold, how real estate gets valued, how risk is distributed across portfolios. Its recommendations influence not just BlackRock's investments, but the investments of clients worldwide. 3. Aladdin runs the market infrastructure for other institutions. This is the part most people don't know. Banks, pension funds, insurers, and governments use Aladdin to manage their portfolios too. This means the same system, the same analytics, the same algorithms are guiding massive swaths of global capital. This creates what experts call algorithmic herding. If Aladdin signals danger in a sector, thousands of funds may pull out at the same time. If it signals opportunity, billions might flow into a single market overnight. One system, one algorithmic brain, quietly influencing global finance in ways never before possible. It's not just that BlackRock manages trillions, it's that Aladdin watches over tens of trillions more. A financial nervous system connected to markets around the world. Chapter 3. Housing. Why they're buying so many homes. Now we get to the part that hits people personally: housing. Over the past decade, more and more financial firms, including BlackRock, have moved into real estate. Not just commercial buildings, but residential properties. Single-family homes, apartment complexes, multi-unit rental buildings, development projects. Why? Because housing has become one of the most profitable, predictable long-term investments available. People always need a place to live. And rental income, especially when managed at scale, generates steady cash flow. BlackRock participates in housing through real estate investment funds, private equity, real estate vehicles, stakes in major landlords and developers, partnerships with institutional buyers. Here's what this means in practice. 1. Institutional buyers compete with families. In some markets, companies with billions behind them bid on single-family homes. Sometimes above asking price, sometimes in bulk. A family cannot compete with that. 2. Homes become financial assets, not shelter. When investment firms buy housing, they view it as a yield, a cash flow stream, an asset on a balance sheet, not a community, not a place to raise children, not a human necessity. 3. Rent increases become inevitable. Large investment funds seek consistent returns. Rents are part of those returns. Higher returns mean higher rent across entire regions. 4. Ownership declines over time. As institutions own more housing stock, the percentage of people who can realistically buy a home shrinks. The result is a slow shift toward a nation of renters. This is how the phrase, "you will own nothing," emerges. Not because of a law or a conspiracy, but because of financial incentives, scaled up across trillions of dollars. When housing becomes a financial product, regular people get priced out. And the future becomes a world where ownership is rare and renting is the norm. Why this matters: the world BlackRock is building. When you combine these three pillars, massive asset ownership, algorithmic influence, and control over real estate, a picture begins to emerge. And it's not a comforting one. 1. A few firms control global capital. BlackRock, along with a handful of other mega managers, hold stakes in virtually every major corporation on Earth. 2. Market decisions become centralized. With so much of the financial world using the same risk system, diversification, one of the foundations of a stable economy, begins to collapse. 3. Housing becomes financialized. Homes are no longer built to be lived in. They're built to generate yield for investors. 4. Political influence expands. Where capital flows, policy follows. Countries become dependent on asset managers to stabilize markets, analyze risk, and even advise governments. This is not science fiction. It's not conspiracy. It's the logical outcome of scale. And the scale has grown beyond anything humanity has ever seen. Conclusion, and a warning about the future. If current trends continue, the world in 10 or 20 years may look very different. Fewer people will own homes. More wealth will be controlled by massive institutional investors. Global markets will respond to a few central algorithms. Decision-making power will drift away from elected governments and toward unelected managers of capital. And the phrase, "you own nothing," won't be a threat. It will be an economic reality. This is not about fear, it's about awareness. Because power doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it grows quietly behind spreadsheets and algorithms until one day you wake up and realize it was shaping your world the entire time. If you want to understand who truly controls the global economy, if you want to see what's coming before it arrives, and if you want to stay ahead of the systems shaping your life, subscribe, stay informed, and don't look away. This is BlackRock, and now you know.